So I've been having some problems with the cooling of the front brakes, and as you can see you have the duct here for the cooling air to the brakes, and this is also upgraded to the GT3 version of the cooling fins, so this is a larger one than the original one. And but still the brakes gets too hot. And also when I install this front lip, you can see the airflow from here into this cooling duct here isn't straight because of the hole that's here on the side. So I'm looking at building a channel from this hole going down the route here and up here to direct air into this section here. And I had a look, and this is the lowest point now, but if I have a cooling duct going down like this, the height difference between this lip and this, the lowest point, is actually back here, and it's really quite close to this. The height difference is only like a centimeter or something. So what I'm gonna do, sorry for the drilling in the background, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut out here and down here and all the way up here, so I lose this section here, because then I can tuck the brake ducting up a little bit up into the chassis here, and I can use this lip to bolt some holders in here, and I figure I can use this duct here also to put the fasteners in, because this is part of the chassis and it's plastic. So I think this is gonna work, and I have a spare one of these. It's over there, so if I mess this one up, it doesn't matter, I can put a new one in place. So next step is to cut this out. So using a Dremel with a cutting blade, real simple cheap tool, as I showed you, I just cut along here and along here, and it all comes out. So now I can tuck the ducting up a little bit tighter towards the chassis here. Before it went, you see the line here. This was my limitation before. My limitation is now, you can see it's a good 2 centimeters further up here that I can use, that wasn't available before. And I can still tie the opening up in here. That's my plan, at least. So to create the channel going all the way down here like that. So to build the channel, I'm planning on using a ventilation duct thing. This is aluminium, and you can see it's compressed like this, so you have to pull it apart. And I'm going to create a channel similar to this, and then people are like, oh yeah, the flow on the limits, yeah, but it's going to be better than before. I know this isn't ideal, it should be smooth in here, but I'm a do-it-myselfer at home. What you need to be careful with when you pull this kind of tubing apart is that you see here there's a it's manufactured in a way that it produces a connection between 2 different lines here, so it's crimped together. So don't pull this apart here, just pull this section apart here, and then you can pull it out to make it longer. I'm going to show you in a bit. So now you can see I pulled out the tube, and it's still quite compressed in this end here, but you can see it's much longer now. So now I'm going to measure up and cut it and see how much I need to use on each side. So this is 125 millimeters in diameter, and I just did a guesstimation on what would suit. And then I'm gonna flatten one end. It's not gonna be completely this wide, but in this sort here. And then it's gonna expand out into the wheelhouse. So now I cut the tube. I measured up 75 centimeters here all around, and I again used the Dremel because it's quite light-handed. It gave a decent cut here. This doesn't need to be perfect. It's under the car. You're never going to touch it, hopefully. So now I'm going to start to shape it all the way through here. I don't know really how I'm going to do it. I have a plug here, but this is probably too big, so probably going to need to cut it down a bit to make it fit for what I'm doing here. But yeah, I'm just going to try and see what happens. So this is just a temporary install with some tape. So I molded it so by hand, so it's in line with this vein here. And it's not pretty, but I hope it's gonna work. And this is gonna be a little bit more flush like this, so we can see through there. And yeah, I just used the wooden board to flatten it out. Down here I molded it by hand, and then also you can see it turns a little bit, goes like that. So now I'm just gonna try to install it. Let's see how that goes. So this is what it looks like removed from the car. Not very pretty, but it will do for now, hopefully. Can do something better in the winter. Then I'm using these kind of bands, drill a small hole and just screw it into place. Then I'm gonna bend this to adapt to the channel, and I'm gonna lock it in place in a couple of different places here. I'll see what will suit the situation. I haven't decided yet, but I'm gonna screw it into here, and here, and a couple of places here, and there are no cooling lines or anything running here. And also I make sure that I always screw into this part here that is removable. And you see I haven't glued the front splitter to the actual bumper. I have glued the splitter to this thing here, so I can make everything original if I want to. So now both channels are installed. Not pretty, but I can see straight through there. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So just some clamping bands here and some plastic or tin screws here. And yeah, I'm trying to keep it as low profile as possible, but this is probably gonna scrape if I drive on uneven roads, but it's mostly for highway and track use, this car, so not so much for city use. And here you can also see through the channel to the end there. This is how it looks at the other side. So yeah, gonna try it out this weekend.